what? You want to fight crime? Let's get dangerous.
And yes, it is. It is actually showtime. And guess what? It is that time once again from the Desk of a Small Press Publisher. I'm your host, Joe D. McPhee here. And we got some things to talk about here. Why? Because we did another WhatNot show today. And there's a drastic difference between when we do exclusives and when we have like our regular show here. And it's just kind of like things that we're going to talk about in general. Something that I was worried about, I looked at and I was like, you know what? I was just too much in my own head here and everything. But let's go ahead and get things rolling with our normal things that we typically do here, such as stupid o'clock happening 1 hour into the show, depending on whether or not we go into a 2 hour standpoint or not. We may do it depending on you out there in the conversation that we have on tonight. That is followed up by Last Man Standing. Then you get a little bit of a respite into Monday for Nevermind the Furthermore with Nicholas Tucker at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And let us not forget Comic Book Spectrum. And yes, notice that we got the correct the times now. It is Thursdays on 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. So we finally got that graphic completed here. And let's see who we got. We got Mr. Milo in the house. Welcome on in, Mr. Milo. Glad that you're able to join us as of right now. We're going to go ahead and take a quick little looky so here because it is that time for comic book pickups for the week. So without further ado, we're going to go to our guy that has what we are looking for here when it comes to our pickups for the week. So without further ado, let's get to it. And here we go. Okay, everyone, this week is a little bit short today. And the reason I said this week is a little bit short because it's just only a few things here. Hopefully for the week of Halloween, we have a bit more of a stack here. At least I'm waiting for some books to actually come by, but we're going to deal with this stack that we got for this week here. Starting off with Superman, Wonder Woman, not Superman, Wonder Woman, Conan, Wonder Woman, or Wonder Woman Conan number 6. I believe I'm only missing issue 5 of that series. I might have that in storage somewhere, but that's the only one that I haven't found as of yet. We got Quest Probe number 1. This is the beginning of the series, but now the only issue that I'm missing of Quest Probe is issue number 2, which is a Spider-Man issue, and we know how people go goo goo gaga over Spider-Man stuff out there. We got a Gen 13 number 15. Not 15, 50. Boy, I'm not reading well today. It's still early. I have to try to get up and be ready to head out to storage here in a few moments. But this is Gen 13 number 50. And then the rest kind of sort of rounds out my America collection here. With these issues here, the only missing issue of America that I don't have is an issue 9, which I'm looking to purchase sometime soon here. But We got another copy of issue 1. Trying to get the glare out. There we go. There's another copy of issue 1. We got another copy of issue 3. We got issue number 4 now. Issue 5. Issue 6. Issue 7. Issue 8. With the lenticular issue 8. Let me see if I can get this to work here. So we got the what is she called? The exterminatrix and America there. If I go like this, we got classic, and it got a glare when I do it this way. So let me bring it back where you can see that now you got Green Goblin and Peter Parker with the original Amazing Spider-Man. And then when I go like this, get it back in order. There it is. America Chavez and the Exterminatrix. That's the other version of number 8, issue 10, 11, and the end of the series. This is issue 12. So we got all of those there together. And that makes the end of this particular video. It was, like I said, it's pretty short, a little bit of short stack here. So it's time for me to get ready to go to storage. So I'm going to give it back over to Joe in the studio. See you guys later. And there we have it here. I will add one other thing here, because some of you guys who normally message me throughout the week, I made you guys aware of a certain thing that I bought. I think I bought it on either Wednesday or Thursday, and it's finally here. There it is, one of my Grail books here, which is Lois Lane 106. This is a epic story here, and this is the reason why. This story was before its time. And this is, one of the things where, it only in Superman technology here, where they did that there was a machine where Lois Lane actually changed races for a day. And it talked about a lot of things that was uncomfortable back then. Nowadays they would say that this is too PC, it's like it's too woke and whatnot. But this was not a woke story. This was nowhere near what we will call a woke story by today's standards here. But it was a story before its time, and it's in pretty nifty condition, except for that little bit down here trying to get the glare out of it. I want to get into the camera, but I don't want the glare because it's in a the bag here is in a mylar, so mylar have so much glare. But eventually it will get graded. This will get graded and everything here. So the Lois Lane 106 has actually arrived here. And it's kind of worth the money from what I can see so far. It's still need to go through the press and clean and get it over to Xigency here. So that's a whole nother issue in a bit here. And we got Parallax, Beanie, and Lils. And the only reason that Parallax gets first billing because she's the one that gets Beanie and Lils over to the YouTube in enough time to watch the show here, because it's on a Saturday. So that is what's going on here. And now, getting back to, this is kind of like one of those WhatNot shows in review here. And like I started off with saying that it's just, to me, I just find it very, very interesting that going from having a show where you do a exclusive to like your normal show, the sales are just not there in most cases, unless you have like a show where you have like things that people really, really tend to gravitate towards, like slabs and stuff to that magnitude. um Not to say anything wrong, because we did get one sale today. It is packed up and ready to go. It was 3 books, but you know to me, any show where you get one sale is a good show. Last time we didn't have any sales after exclusive, and this has been like 2 months where we had back-to-back exclusives. We had the X-Men 97, and then last week we had the Marvel 24. And it's just it is what it is. But it's kind of disconcerting. You have to get the ego out of the way and everything, and you just gotta accept the fact that not everybody is looking for the books and stuff that you may have on hand here. Today I sold a couple of X-Men books, and that was kind of good and dandy and everything, because why? These X-Men books are extra. It's not like I'm selling bits and pieces of my collection. And for those who may not know, it's like when it comes to Uncanny X-Men, there's very few issues that I'm missing. And when I say very few, we're talking about going through almost like three different volumes of X-Men, going all the way back to 1963. So I'm not breaking up that big entire set, but when I have like 3 and 4 copies of one issue, sure, why not sell one of them? It doesn't serve me any purpose to keep hoarding books, especially if I could get them a proper home. What hurts sometimes is that sometimes people just don't come in and actually buy. I had one person wanted the sensational She-Hulk #1 that I have, and I was going to give him a break at $25, because it's kind of like a mid-grade copy. I'm not going to charge them an asinine price here. Probably $25. It seems fair to me. I might even go lower depending on how I felt that day, but he didn't come back. People would ask me for different stuff. I would go and grab it and get it, and the following week they're not showing back up. So it's kind of, it is what it is. It's like you said, you can't be in your ego at that point. You can't feel upset and get mad and angry and say, oh, people don't know. How do we say it, Parallax? We can't be like a certain salesperson that we watch on a weekly basis here. Oh, by the way, she's doing good, but the person that she works for, sometimes it kind of like, man, dude, just chill out. People don't always want the books that you think are the best. Just like I accept the fact that people don't collect my stuff, but even you, Parallax, it seems like I'm bringing different books to the shows now. I'm not just sticking with my guns here. Yeah, y'all don't know good books. I don't go out and say that. I just feel like, you know what? It's all fine and dandy, because if you don't like them, I know somebody else is, and it's just going to be a matter of time that as I have my inventory for whatnot ready, I could go ahead and sell the way that I normally sell. And it's sad that I have to pull that one slab now, that Hulk 8 slab. I figured that it's like, if anybody wants to avoid the fees for getting a book slab, $50 for a slab is fair. But I guess people don't want to pay slab, the price to get something slab to own a actual copy of a book. But like, even with the Hulk 8, that's an extra one. I mean, I have other extra slabs that's here, and that was kind of like a test. So I'm not even going to deal with slabs unless I really want to get rid of it. I mean, that's just the way that it is. I mean, I got like, and Parallax, you could actually vouch for that. I got extra Future State Wonder Woman #1, that Hulk 8, a couple of Black Cat and Mary Jane #1s. We're talking about like Alex Ross covers type stuff here, and duplicates of that. I was like, I'm not even going to deal with it, because I'm not one to deal with people who want to lowball, because I'm only going to price it low. I mean, I'm doing dollar star, so I'm actually selling books, and people are picking up books at $1 and $2 and $3. I'm not going to make any money or whatnot with that. I have to sell maybe like 40 or 50 books to actually start making money. But that's not my whole purpose of being on there. I introduced my books there, and that was the key thing. And you was out there, and I started off the show introducing. It's like, hey, I have this set of books. Here's issue #1 of Amazonia. Here's the issue #7 that was done by Steph Wilson. And Steph Wilson actually has a show out there and whatnot. So I'm up here, it's like, oh, I'm pointing people to other people's shows that have similar similar ideas. So it, it is what it is. It's like, yeah, I could vouch for the quintuples of books. Yeah. Yeah, you're more than yeah, and and I try to price gouge and everything, but because I don't have that Amazing Spider-Man 300 that I'm going to give. Even if I did have an Amazing Spider-Man 300, I wouldn't give that up. I wouldn't give that up anytime soon. Just like I have like Ultimate Fallout 4 first print. Not going to give that up anytime soon. You just saw that I just picked up the Lois Lane 106. I mean, I get more pricier books here. Matter of fact, I just went through a couple of things and I got my Avengers Annual number 10, the one that has a little bit of a crease in it. And I'm up here thinking about, working on that and getting that ready to grade. I mean, it's just that type of things here. It's like all of them do bros want the fire big boy books and they don't have a stroke when they have a stroke when they get the prices. And I'm not asking for a lot for this stuff. I mean, technically, I could have sold the guy this one too. I had this one, but I was trying to keep this one here because I also noticed that it was like a little bit of discoloring right up in there. But it's not what I consider a reader book per se. And there's still some cleanup and stuff that I gotta do on it. But it's one of those books that I was like, it's in decent condition. Maybe one day I could clean it up and sell it here. But this was the book that I said that, I finally got a chance to like really look at it decently before I decided whether or not, and it got like the little bitty creases and stuff. But the spine and stuff is pretty good and everything, and it presents nice, but it got a couple of creases up in it. So and a couple of color breaks and damage. So it's like, yeah, it's not the best book per se, but it is at least a 5.5. 5.5, 5.5, 4, I would say 4.5 to 5.5. So, I'm not going to make a big deal about it. I'm not going to say, oh man, look at this. This should be like a 8. No. Even this one right here, by my estimates, is somewhere between a 6.5 and a 7.5. If I get anything above a 7, I'm happy. But I know not to expect the moon out of a lot of these books here. She's making jokes. Yeah, yep. It's time for the Fallout eraser. Yeah, I had to replace the bag. One of the bags that I had. I believe that this bag had a Batman up in it, so I had to replace the bag and board because I didn't use the Fallout eraser here. But you know what? While I'm sitting here talking to you, might as well go ahead and use the Fallout eraser and get her done. But seriously, I mean, it's just one of those things, and I don't want to sound like I'm complaining about people who are on whatnot. It's not that. It's just more along the lines just being prepared to know that every time you go out there on whatnot, you're not going to have the best of sales, and you're going to have to understand that whatever it is, don't take it personally. But I'm still trying to figure out where's my fan base for my books at this point, because the more I go out there, the more I'm going to start talking about my books now, especially since I'm getting close to finishing up Primetime Saturday Night number 5. We're 37 pages in now of doing all the graphics and getting all the pages done before we can start lettering soon. So once I get those 52 pages done, the scripting and lettering takes no time at all. But I shouldn't have to rely on Kickstarter. I shouldn't have to rely on a lot of these other venues for crowdfunding to get the word out. Eventually, when you get big enough and do things right, you skip all of that. You get to skip that line. You get to, do actual other shows and talk to other distributors and actually go directly to the people, and people order through like Diamond or Penguin and everything else here. Oh, Don's back. Yep, that is, I guess who's back? Don's back. Yep. Don's back. Yep. Back again. I think tell a friend. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Da da da. Yeah, but that's the real thing dealing with whatnot. And I know Parallax is trying to get herself ready to do some stuff on whatnot. She got her new devices, hopefully. And like I already made her aware, if she needs somebody to moderate, I'm here. Just like she's been there for me, I'm going to be there for her if she needs a moderator. But the major thing here is, don't get discouraged if you don't get a whole bunch of sales the first time out. I'm 30. I'm like what 12 or 15 shows in now, because I didn't even realize I started all the way back in June, and we're already in November doing 2 shows a month. So, that speaks volumes as far as being consistent. Yeah, I have some shows where, I did very good, and then there's other shows that I just do my hour and not sit out there and be all angry and pissed off that nobody's buying anything, because it's like, hey, people know where to get it. I do have everything on the marketplace that I want, like the sets and stuff, and the older books are on the marketplace, so anybody can buy them at any given time. But like the single books, you're going to have to come into the show. And now with the rewards program, that's going to be interesting enough. And speaking of which, let me go ahead and show you this. I guess I could show you guys this here. This is kind of like the internal behind the scenes of season one for like the rewards program, and it makes it easier for you guys to understand, what's really going on when I talk about that. Because now we were talking about earlier where there's like a bronze level, silver level, gold level, platinum, and diamond. And it's good to know that when you have sellers out there that are doing this stuff, they're up here trying to save you guys some money if you are, working with them to get their sales and stuff up. So for the first season of this here, you could get to a bronze level, and the way that you achieve it, you could either watch 3 shows. So it's simple. Just watch, go in, watch the shows for at least, 10 minutes or so. You can make 2 purchases. And in this case, the person who bought the X-Men books did that. He made 2 purchases. He got his bronze level, which means the next time that he comes into the show, he got a $5 coupon that he could use. Or you can spend up to $20 on one purchase, and that will get you to bronze level, which means on your next on the next purchase, on your next purchase, you could actually use the $5 off coupon. Then once you get to bronze, you go up to, you could work your way up to silver, and to work your way up to silver, you have to spend $40 or more, and I believe, and you have to make 5 purchases. So it's 5 purchases, and your totals have to be $40 or more, and you get $10 off your next purchase. To get to gold, you have to hit silver first, and then it's $60 or more in purchases. 10 purchases total, and $60 or more total, and you get 25% up to $20 off your next purchase. And then this is where, from gold, it gets really, really interesting. $100, 20 purchases, but now you're getting 25% off your next purchase of $50 or more. And then we hit diamond, $250 or more, 50 products, but 50 different products, but you get, $50 off your next purchase of $100. So you could save a whole bunch of money, especially if you're buying like a whole bunch of dollar books and stuff to that magnitude. But if you're doing things like slabs and stuff, that becomes difficult. But when you're doing like dollar books, and that's what I'm trying to focus on right now, is affordable books. It's just it is what it is. Oh, we talk. We don't need to talk about. Okay, I missed a lot of stuff here. Hold on. Let me get it back here. Yes, I told you I was going to use the Fallout eraser right now as I'm talking to you. So yeah, that's happening here. I'm going to yell. I'm going to yell. Y'all don't know what good books are. Yeah, you could go ahead and yell that, but you don't see me talking about that. Not once on my show have I, well, especially on the WhatNot show. You don't see me going like, y'all don't know what good books are. This up here is like, oh, you don't want that. I probably just don't have what you want at this moment. And I do have to admit that I don't collect what everybody else typically collects. I would admit that easily. It's just there's no reason to hide something like that. But at the same time, I'm not going to guilt people into a cell. I would never say that either, because again, one person may sell it to you at $5, another person may sell it to you at one, but another you might come around another person that be like, no, you can have this. A good price is so subjective. Just like with the Lois Lane that I just showed you guys. A lot of people were saying I paid too much for it, and I was getting worried about that because I'm up here. It's like I don't see these books coming across that often and looking that clean. It was a clean looking book when I saw it on WhatNot. Now since I have it in hand, I was like, yeah, it's a clean book. Would I like to pay less than what I paid? Yeah, I would have, but again, people bidded it up. I'm not going to get upset because other people wanted it and they bidded it up. That's kind of silly. Why I'm going to get upset and have that silly, as Parallax would say, that silly do bro mentality about paying, a little bit extra money for something that I already know that's going to be a pricey book in the first place. And just for you guys to know, Fallout Eraser works again. So it works. It does work. But it is what it is. I'm not going to sit up here and complain about that type of stuff. You posers. Again, I'm not Canadian, but I understand. I understand. I understand. It's like it does get annoying, but the thing about it is nobody's forcing your hand to buy it at that point. You don't even know where that insult comes from when you fake Deadpool movie loving dude. Well, we know Parallax is already set off by that. Yeah, it's like I just don't care to deal with variant hunters. I mean, that's the day and age that we're in, and it's sad that stories don't sell. I mean, Parallax, myself, and even you, Don, we grew up in a day where we only needed one cover. If what's within the story that sold us the book. If we didn't like the story, we didn't buy it, and we would go several issues without buying a copy of our beloved titles, just to prove the point that something got to change. I mean, that's just the way things are. Not to say it's a bad thing or an awful thing that certain titles get favoritism and whatnot. It's just that's just the way things are. Just filling up these books here, but that's just the nature of the business at that point. Yeah, like the one seller who shall not be named always complain when people don't meet his reserves when he starts the book at $2. Yeah, yeah. I'm leaving that alone. I'm leaving that alone because again, how people make their money is how they make their money. If that's how he makes the money or she makes the money and it works for them, let them keep doing it. The major thing is you go in there knowing that that's going to happen and you deal with it accordingly. You know, not our fault, buddy. That's yours. Yeah, yeah. I think that's the kind of wrong. And yeah, we're not naming names. Yeah, he wants $25 for a Spider-Man 2099 #1. Like what? Again, $25 for Spider-Man #1, and it's not graded. That's like I said, there's people who would do it. I'm not going to fault them because if a person does buy it, he's not really at fault. But you start, yeah, you saw the condition of it. Why am I going to make somebody pay an exorbitant amount of fee when I know it's a reader copy? Now, if they want to take the time to clean it up, press it out, and do all the other stuff to get it to a decent gradable condition, so be it. But if I know it's a reader and I know that it has ticks and all the other stuff built into it and needs a decent cleaning, I'm not going to charge them what the going price is for something that is pristine. Why do that? Why? Yeah, there are set tiers achievement to choose from, or how does that break down? Okay, only at only at the bronze level where you have that ore. We have that ore. So let me go back to that for because I want to explain this to Don here since he asked about it again. Now, at the bronze level, this is why it's or for the bronze level. You can either watch 3 shows, make 2 purchases, or spend $20 or more to get that $5 off coupon. That $5 off coupon is only good once and one time only. Once you at the bronze level, then to climb to the next level, you must meet both conditions here. You must spend at least $40 and you must make 5 purchases. So once you have done both of those, you get your $10 off coupon. For a gold level, spend at least $60 and 10 purchases. Then you get the 25% off up to $20. And that one seems kind of weird, but when you think about it, it's like you're going from 5 to 10. But for your next purchase, let's say you purchase like $30, you purchase like $30 worth of stuff. So it's like, $30, 25% off of $30 is pretty much, about like $8 and some odd cents, which is a good savings here. But let's say if you get close to like $100, that's still $25. So you still get up to $20 off of that. So it becomes an $80 purchase. So 25% off is a good deal, depending on how much you actually buy. It's not until when you get into platinum when you start really have to worry about, do I spend $100 or more in this person's show? Do I make 20 purchases? And then you get your $25 off, and then do I spend at least $250 in this person's show and 50 make 50 different purchases to get my $50 off? Now, the way that the seasons work is that the seasons are 3-month periods. So this last period started in September and it ends in December. So I believe you have all the way up to like December 2nd to use your coupons, and then after December 2nd, the things restart again. So you go all the way back down to bronze and work your way up the ladder again in that aspect here. So that's kind of like the new feature that some whatnot sellers are using as of right now. Well, when Joe told me the price, and I said, that's not bad. That's a pricey book, and I already know that was going to be a pricey book. But the thing about it is, I'm looking at how much I paid based upon condition. I knew how it came off on screen, but sometimes what it looks like on screen does not equate to what it is in real life until you have it in hand. And me being like, okay, did I make a good purchase here? It turns out I did. It turns out that I did. Uh, and when I saw the book, I thought it was like, yeah, he got a very good deal overall. That's what I thought. I didn't like the fact that I got bidded up on, but I still kept it in the ballpark where I could feel like, you know what, I did okay. I did okay. It would have been nicer to get it for like anywhere between like 75 and 80, but for 125, it wasn't that bad. I mean, I paid what, a hundred for the 190 for Wonder Woman 199, and like $80 for the 200. Those are pricey books because why? They're bondage covers. I could care less, but that's what the going rate is for those books here. Yes, I know who Kilowog is. Kilowog is an alien Canadian. He's an alien Canadian. Yeah, if the book sucks, we dropped it. The editors noticed and changed the creative teams of direction. Exactly. That was back in the day. But now, because there are alternate covers and everything to that magnitude, people will buy the book and so buy these 1 in 15s and 1 in 25 just to keep and the editors and stuff are like, well, the book is selling because we sold at least 25 to get this one cover out. So they're not going to change the product. But that's the day and age that it is when it comes to variant collecting. Now sales drop, they relaunch with another number one with 48 covers. Yep. Because they're going to make their money regardless. And stop making fun of dynamite. Oh, here we go. We gain Facebook pictures now. I'm going to respect people's wishes here because I'm up here more along the lines like, you know what? One of these days I'm going to shoot you a link to be like, nope, you show up. That way you can show all the pictures you want. But I kind of know why you won't do it. I do know why you won't do it, and I agree because you got extracurricular activities, to say the least. Extracurricular activities. Notice I said plural that you have to contend with. Not to say that those activities are bad things. It's just more along the lines, for the sake of protecting the activities, it is what it is. uh, I'm laughing, people, because all of a sudden Parallax is like, I'm going to come in there like Karen Welch. It's like freeze, police. Going to be like going to be dropping people like Karen Welch. And people who don't know who Karen Welch is, you have not been reading my book Amazonia. Yeah, Don has already seen it. So that's the picture that you wanted me to see here. Oops, was that loud? Sorry, Lady Silverbolt. Nope. There's no one actually here around me here. But that was the picture that you wanted me to show. Okay, so meeting both requirements, I think, is too much, especially if I met the purchase amount here. I need to have buy 19 items, or I have bought one big item. The problem here is it's not it's more of the platform per se. They consider they consider how can I put this? They consider winning an auction as winning one item, but when it comes to shipping, it's always combined shipping, so it doesn't make sense to do it that way. I could go back and modify it if need be. I could go back and modify it, but the thing about it is, it's just was just one of those things that is just so freaking weird that I could make it like at least purchase one thing, but that total has to be met. So if you made one purchase, but you need to spend over and spend over $30 or more, that still makes some sense. But then they're up here saying it's like, well, you can't have it that way. You have to have it something weird, No, if you meet one of the requirements for each tier. Right. It's like first you have to the only one that has that or is the bronze tiers. So you could do one of three things to get your bronze. After that, you have to meet all requirements to get to the next tier, which is weird. And the thing about it, you could set it to where you could only have one requirement. That only is at bronze. That's only for bronze. So I know next season, I'm just probably going to have like one characteristic here. It's like spend like $40, you get this. Spend like $50, you get that type deal. And say forget about how many purchases you made, because when you go up tiers, and that's what I'm seeing with other people that's doing it. It's weird. It's just so weird here. Yeah, no, on some shows it's meaning both. Yeah, only time it is a or is for the bronze. The bronze level is always have that or. Once you get past bronze, once you have earned your bronze, everything else is you have to meet both. So, like the person who bought the three books today, he earned his bronze already because technically he bought three things at auction from me, and that is the two items. That's the two items to get to bronze. So he doesn't have to be in two other shows. He already has it. So now he has a $5 coupon that he can use. But for him to get up to that next level, and just going back to it to get up to bronze, now he has to spend $40 or more and purchase five items. Like in one show, like Parallax, the best way I could explain it. Best way I could explain it. Right now, I'm at platinum level at Rosie's, so I'm already here. So at Rosie's, I believe I had to spend close to like $40 more to reach $200, but I also have to purchase. I think it's like 20 more items because technically they don't. They have auctions if you fight for a book, but because their claim sale is like I could go several shows without getting my diamond. I could run the risk of not getting my diamond until maybe like in December, and then I will only have maybe like a couple of shows to use. I think it's like $30 or $40 off coupon at that point. So once you get to the higher levels, it's you have to do both. It's not you get one or the other because for the longest time I was sitting at go because I have already spent over the amount that they asked for, but I didn't have the number of purchases because it's a claim sale. And the way that they do their claims is like you claim the book, you build your stack, you pay for your stack at the end. When you pay for your stack at the end, it's only considered one purchase by WhatNot standard. But if you do it like how I do it with auctions, where each book is an auction, that is considered a purchase in WhatNot size. So if you purchase 10 books from me in that aspect, that's 10 purchases. and each one of those purchases adds up on that total. So it's just the way that their system is set up for that idea. So I know now going into season 2, just having one criteria should be the best. Should be the best here. Just say spend that amount, or just make 10 purchases, or spend this amount, or just have it like make 20 purchases. Not have it as a and or just have one criteria. This is a criteria that you have to meet, and that's how you get to that next level. So that's the kind of like the cool thing about that here. But that's the picture that she's up here. It's like, yep, I'm going to be Karen Wells. I'm going to be up here like the SWAT team. You're like, dude, bro, come out with your hands up. That's what Parallax is going to do. They're like, dude, bro, come out with your hands up. Get their hands off of that comic book. But it's a 1 in 100. I said, get your hands off that comic book. But nevertheless, here we used the Fallout Eraser. Those, I'm kind of happy here. I mean, we did get more books in today, but I'm saving those for next week. I mean, it's not worth it. Only one that was really worth mentioning was this one, because this was the one that I made certain that, and it's like I know I talked to you, Don. I did talk to Parallax about this, and that was the reason why I brought it up today, or else I would have had this on for next week here. But I kind of wish to get the glare out, but there we go. There we go. That you can see, that's the only major thing that I can see that's truly like really, really bad here, is that chip right there. But outside of that, there's no real bends or anything. The black is very, very good. The spine is excellent. Yeah. 125 is pricey, but it is what it is. I mean, it was what it was. Would I like to pay less than that? Sure. Anybody would like to pay less for a good book. But that's just the way that it is. But nevertheless, progress here. Like I said, I'm on page 37 of the 52-page book for Primetime Saturday Night, issue number 5. And let me go ahead and pull up some of the graphics where I can show you guys what we've been working on this week. Because again, I'm going to have you guys keep me honest and be like, Joe, did you work on the book? Because you got to get this book done by December, because we're waiting for the Amazonia number 8. You keep postponing Amazonia number 8. We want our Amazonia 8. We want our scheduled cover of Doomazonia. Yeah, y'all supposed to be on me about Doomazonia here, and I just pulled out a blank Amazonia 4 cover to get started on that. So I'm trying to keep my word. I'm going to try to keep my word. So that's the one thing, is like, you guys got to be on me and be like, Joe, you haven't done your stuff yet. Don't be over stressing about the WhatNot stuff. You got drawing and rendering and shit to do. If you don't do that, we're going to give you shit about not doing your work. And knowing how Parallax is, she's going to be like, uh-uh, that's not going to work. That's just like, that's not going to work for us. You gotta do what we gotta do here. Or as she would put it, just to be on the safe side here, as she would put it, put your hands on the tablet. You need to be drawing some pages. That's how she would be doing it. But nevertheless, here, oh, I thought I had that up. And here we go. We're working on page 37 now, so this is where we're about to get ready to start the match between Jungle Cat and Shayla and the crew. This is part of the tag team tournament that is going on, and it looks like Little Pearl and Jungle Cat goes at it. Swing and a miss. The swing and a miss by Little Pearl there. Another swing and a miss by Little Pearl. And what's going to happen after that? You'll find out in a bit once I start finishing up the panels for these pages here. So we got past the first 4 panels here. There's going to be probably at least 2 to 3 more that for this page, at least 2 to 3. But that's where we're at for page 37 up to this point here. And like I said, this is more for accountability purposes than anything else. So we always try to show that we are working on it, constantly working on books and everything. We're trying to work on the craft, not just sit out here and talk like, oh, we publish comics and this, that, and the other. It's like, no, we actually do the work. We do the work. You know, you guys told me not to do the render and talks and the drawing talks anymore. I'm going to put, I've been moving that over to our Patreon. And I know I haven't been doing much on Patreon as of late as far as posting, but I'm going to get back to it soon because it's been kind of weird with all these exclusives and trying to keep things tracked down and making certain, shipment gets out on time and making sure bills get paid, dealing with family and all the other stuff. You kind of put a lot of things on the back burner. But we're doing what we got to do. We're moving forward, and we got to keep things going here. On that note, see what else have I what else has been have we not talked about? Oh yeah, there's no comic book spectrum this upcoming Thursday. Why? Because Thursday is Halloween, and a lot of people on the crew celebrates Halloween. I do not. So, that just gives me a day off and I could actually relax and do more of the rendering and do a lot more of the art stuff and avoid having people ringing the doorbell saying trick or treat and all the other good stuff here. And possibly use more Fallout eraser and everything like that on the bags and whatnot. Speaking of which, I should be getting a package from them soon. I should be getting more and more books here soon here, and we'll be out of October. So, like I said, October has been a very big month for books. And that's been a decent thing here. But you know, it's kind of is what it kind of is, and we're at the end of the year, so it's going to get to the point where Lee's getting raked every other day. Weather going to change. Already got family members not feeling, up under the weather and everything. It's just, winter is coming and the sudden change of weather always makes people hack and cough and do all this other stuff. So you just gotta avoid things as you can here. So not really that big of a turnabout here. But outside of that, it's getting to the point where you gotta start thinking about, Christmas presents and everything to that magnitude. So if you got, a comic book fan that either loves, pro wrestling or loves, kind of like police dramas with a little bit of superhero slash, slice of life built into it, holler at your boy, buy comics from me and give them as gifts here. Just putting it out there, not saying you have to do it, but if you can, do so. If not, I still appreciate you because you're here. We get to talk and enjoy what I consider the hobby the right way. Sharing ideas and talking about what we love and what we don't like and all that other good stuff in between. What are the other stuff that you guys been reading as of late? Because that's the other thing. Because like I stated before in the new comic books for the week, I only miss. I was like, I'm getting to the point where I'm missing only like single issues of certain titles now. I'm up there like, man, it's like I didn't realize I have so many books of so many different titles here. Like today, while I was in storage, I was going through my Avengers. So I'm up here, I was like, okay, I went through like a lot of Avengers Volume One stuff. I was like, I don't remember having this much Avengers number one. And then I was like, I was getting so mad because there were so many different volumes of new Avengers that I'm up here. I was like, I don't remember buying all of these new Avengers issues. And it turns out that it was like close to like complete runs of these books. And I was like, when did I buy all this stuff? And then I got to the point, it's like, where are these books here? It's like, why are there gaps? Because if I bought them, I wouldn't have just bought one or two. I would have bought the whole run. So those are the kinds of things here. Well, that's always you always say that. You always say that. Yeah, I know that, but even with being on a movie kick, you've been collecting certain sets of movies. Yeah, there are just as many jerks in the movie buying world there is in the comic book. I think it's worse. I think it's worse in the movie world because movies, it's easier to pop in, sit in front of a television and enjoy by yourself, especially with the advent of people owning home theater systems now. There's no reason why you really have to go to a theater to have the movie experience anymore. You have a good television and a good sound system, you could sit there for days. Heck, it with even a good streaming service, you could sit there and have that theater experience all day long. I felt good to hunt yesterday. Glad that I could pick up some books for y'all. Yeah, you was able to get me another Jaguar number nine. With that Jaguar number nine, that brings me up to two complete sets. So now I'm about to get ready to try to complete a third complete set of Jaguar. And then that's when I could be like, okay, now all the rest of them could go bye bye. So that means that I might have some extra number ones and twos and threes and stuff like that for other people to be able to complete their collection. Yep. Yeah, fun backs are fun. Yeah, I'm not going to say that because we're going to keep that PG. And yes, he loves it. Correct. Good movies. Yeah, I saw my yeah, okay, yeah. We're going to let her tell the story. So this is a story here, and like I said, it's like animals in her area heard her when this happened here. So I saw Monster Squad on DVD last night, and I asked for it, and someone else asked for it, so they was going to run it. I was like, "Oh, that's cool, Pat. Cool, Pat. Cool pass for go for it." Because I have seen her get on movies and other stuff. Okay, so as the some guy named Roland comes in and up bits or she bits again, and then he bids again, and it's like, oh, that movie seems good because everyone wants it. No, not necessarily, because we don't know if Roland is a shield or not at this point. Because why are you upbidding something that somebody wants here? Just like what I could say the same thing with the Lois Lane, but at least the person who I know that bid who was bidding with me at the very end, I understood that that person wanted it. But in the very beginning, people were bidding that book up for no apparent reason. Then the girl read the back of the box and he was like, "Oh, that's not my sort of movie." And I was like, "What the fuck? Why did you bid then?" Exactly. Again, people do those shilling type deals. It's like, "Oh, Monster Squad, I want to be a part of that." Just stupid. That's like, I got money, I just want it. Okay, yeah, that's exactly non a dumb bidder. How do you not know Monster Squad? Exactly. The seller was annoyed at the guy. Yep, because those are the types of people that will bid on stuff, and if they end up winning, they'll probably come back and it's like, "Hey, I want to cancel this. Could you cancel? Could you cancel this order?" And it's like, "Nope, you bid on it fair and square. You bid on it fair and square. Why should I cancel this?" Because it's like if you didn't want it in the very beginning, or you got misled about what it was, you should have said something in the middle of bidding for it, not after the fact. Not after the fact here. Yeah, so okay, so she finishing up the story. So the seller got annoyed at the guy. And I told George the story at breakfast, and a few minutes later he threw the 4K Monster Squad movie, and it was like plug rolling. Yep, exactly. Why would you bid up something that you don't want? Why are you going to be a shill? Never be the shill. Never. Never. Unless you're proving a point, never be the shill. Never. Never. Because it hurts everybody in the long run. It's going to hurt you because if you do it, guess what? Karma comes around. People are going to do it to you, especially when you don't have the money to protect yourself to be like, oh, okay, this is my true upper limit, but I'm going to see if I can get it for this. So you don't do that stuff. You don't be a shield for no one because karma will come back and bite you in the ass. Then I squealed and shattered the windows all over Harlan, and every animal heard me. Yep, that's what I. She could tell you that was the first thing that I asked when she first told me this story earlier today. That's like, how many animals heard you? Yep, and another guy I'm cool with is pissed at the guy, and he was like, "Yeah, he has deep pockets and is ready to upbid him, and he collects all types of movies." That's why I said karma comes around when it comes to auctions here. And I said all of them, all the animals heard me on the planet. But those are the types of things. That's just life with whatnot. If I could say it in those terms, life on whatnot is an interesting experiment. It's a very interesting experiment, and I shouldn't use the word experiment, but it's an experience nonetheless. Here it is a very good. So Roland is going to get karma by Cloud. Yep. I mean, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. He's going to be like, man, I want to get this movie. I only want to spend $50 here. But if I have to spend 75, I have the 75 to do it. And next thing you know, he's going to be like, man, I shouldn't spend $100. It should have upbidded other people. It always come back to haunt. But if you really want the book, you want to pay. You want to pay. If you really want it, you want to pay what you feel that you can pay for it. Just like with the Lois Lane 106. I really wanted that book. It looked pretty on screen. It really did. It was like when they did the whole thing about front, back, the spine, and everything. I was like, man, that is a pretty book. It's a pretty one. I don't think I ever come across another one anytime soon that will be worth the money and the opportunity to get it slapped. But you know, it got upbid by other people who didn't want the book. They just up here was like, "Oh, Lois Lane 106, it's a sought after book. I'm going to try to get me a steal." It's like, don't you realize how costly that book is? You putting in a $20 or $30 or $40 price tag means that people like myself and this one other person cannot get it at a deal anymore just because you want to try to get it upbid it and try to get it for a steal over us, and we already know it's like if you put in $40, that's not going to be enough. But it is what it is. Well, we're over the hour mark here, so I'm not certain what else you guys have in your mind here. So if need be, we can go ahead and call it a night. But that's up to you because I know you guys got other things that you want to talk about here because I know last night I won't. I like I said, we won't talk about certain shows. We won't talk about certain shows. But what I have experienced last night was something that I shared, and the person that was on the show understood me 100% with accuracy. We have people asking for a particular book, and the person who owns the store says it's like, yeah, but I don't want to break my run of it. And I was like, okay, cool. Okay, cool. No big deal. But the whole thing is like the person who was doing the selling was like, yeah, I understand that. It's like, man, I was like, I understand that too. However, since I understand how the owner is, 9 times out of 10, if I was to ask how much are you planning to sell the set for, the first thing that's going to come out of his mouth is you're going to have to call the store and ask me directly. I was like, and he was like, you know what? You're right. And I was like, it's a shame that me as a buyer knows the seller more than the seller knows me as a buyer. Yep. And I was just like, and only thing he could do is just nod in agreement. It's like, it's sad, but it's true. It's sad, but it's true. There he is. There he is. How are you doing this evening, Aaron? You missed a couple of good stories here. We missed a couple of good stories. We were up here and talked about, you know, a person who Parallax had to deal with who's going to get their comeuppance in karma. And then I just shared a story about something that happened yesterday on a claim sale. That to me it's like it just goes to show you that sometimes sellers don't know the people who buys from them as well as they think that they do. But us buyers know the sellers way better, way better about how they're going to react, how they're going to look at something and be like, yeah, it's like, you know what? If I really wanted it, I know what I have to do. So, yep, you are doing better. That's great. Oh, for those who don't know, Aaron has been up under the weather, but he has been doing his Monday claim sales here. And I haven't forgot, but it's because it's so low, I haven't went ahead and paid you. We only owe you $6, but that's those $6 is only for 3 books here. So hopefully you don't, knock me for not paying, for the 3 books up to this point because I'm trying to get a bigger balance to say it's like, okay, now I'm going to send you everything over PayPal. It doesn't make any sense to, be like $4 here, $2 there. That does nothing. So it's better always to have it one bigger invoice than anything else. Hey, Ron, I show off my boobs. You missed it. Well, no, we going to show. It's like Parallax had her police moment, and she did it in the guise of one of my characters of Karen Welsh here. That's what she did here. Yeah, so she's up here, was commenting to the degree about dude bros and all this other stuff, and she was going to come in the room like, get your hands off the comic book, get your hands off that 100 and 100. You are about to be under arrest. You have the right to not buy this book. Any book that you try to buy at this point in time will be rejected, and your credit card will be declined. That's how she was coming up into the building dealing with dude bros. That's how she was doing here. That's how she was doing. It's like, oh yeah, I would check the rewind. Yep, not a problem. Oh, don't forget, his live chat when you review. Yeah, I mean, I do comment. I do apply. Reply to comments after the fact. So if you watch it, if you watch it, in replay, I do respond to comments and everything too. So Yeah, I don't worry about smaller amounts, my friend. Okay, cool. Yeah, I will have money Thursday and pay you off AA run. Please, please don't have my niece, bro. I don't think Aaron has it within himself to pull a Joey Bats or a Donnie Greco as if he's a capo. I don't see it. He doesn't come off that way. He's parallax. Yeah, I still need to check out your world you created. Yeah, yeah. I mean, let me know because like I stated before, that was one of the things on when you watch the replay. I talked about my goals for my WhatNot show. My WhatNot show is really going to be the way for me to really sell my comics eventually. I just need to build up the following, not only for the books that I sell out of my own collection, I actually sell my creative own stuff there as well. But it's hard to get traction there. Yeah, it's me versus 42 Dubros. I like my chances. Kick the door down. And she's going to be like, you better deal with me than deal with my partner. Oh yeah, what your partner's going to be like, and then that's when Elisa comes in and it just stares up at her. It's like, oh yeah, I'm sorry. That's even if they don't get hypnotized by the jiggling. Nice one, Parallax. Yeah, don't forget to hit like for the algorithms. Yes, Al Gore does not know how to sit down with those rhythms. Yeah, I'm not a violent person. That's why I say I have a hard time believing that he's going to have Joey Bats come and knock on the door and be like, "You owe us something." I believe you. I believe we have a shipment of books that you have not paid for. You're going to pay for it one way or another. Which one you want to do first, left or right? But no buts, left or right. But nah, he's not that type of person. Yeah, I have not been on what my not much, but I will have to check it out. Yeah, whatnot it's an animal. It's an animal. It's good. It's a lot of good and there's a lot of bad too. The good is that there's a good possibility that you can find the books that you want out there. The bad is you might not be able to get it at a deal like most people think, and a lot of people typically overpay for stuff if they're not savvy enough to know how much stuff is worth. That's the bad thing about whatnot. But the good thing is you can find a little bit of everything out there. You can find bits and pieces of like things that you're missing out of the collection here. Like for example, yesterday I think for the low price of $99, I ended up getting three slabs. I ended up getting a Wonder Woman slab, a What If Jane Foster was store, and I believe it was a Blue Beetle one, Blue Beetle Jaime Reyes #1 slab. Three slabs for under $100. Like you can't beat it with a stick, but you have to know how to shop. You have to know how to shop to do that. The best thing ever is on The Simpsons when the barcode shows everyone bought over. Every time they scan Maggie, you talk about when they scan Maggie and the quote, and people don't realize there's a quote that's in that register that pops up. And a lot of times people fast forward over it. They don't get to see that quote because it go by so fast. Yeah, goes to the CIA, go to the CIA office. Guy runs, grabs the phone. Mr. Vice President, someone actually bought a copy of your book. Al Gore says thank you and turns on the record. Celebrate good time. She's too much of a Simpson fan. Al Gore, I will. I might get into the slab game someday. Well, because my older videos are no longer around, Aaron, the way that I feel about slabs is this. I don't buy slabs mainly to build a collection. I buy it mainly because of preservation. Like for like a Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle #1, that would be a book that I would like to preserve. So that way, if I buy it as a slab, I don't have to worry about tracking one down, making sure to get cleaned and everything after I read it and everything. I have one in the collection. It would be stored for preservation purposes and move on from there. The same thing with the What If Jane Foster. That was not bought as, oh, I need this to complete a collection. It's like it was a book that I wanted to keep. And if I did buy it, it was going to be preserved because that's kind of like the footnote to to what could have happened, even back then if Jane became Thor, as opposed to the Jane Foster Thor that we got later on. But it's interesting. It's interesting enough. And then the Wonder Woman book I have so many copies of that. It's like what I just because I have so many of that issue, I just saved myself. I believe I would say somewhere about like $30 buying it as a slab because I think I only paid like $36 for it and average shipping cost for getting something graded at CGC would have been somewhere about $50 to $60. So I came out ahead. I came out ahead, paying, $36 for something that would have cost me postage, another $50 plus postage back for a book that I already own. So for the low price of $36, I had, for one that's already been done at a 9.8, I don't have to worry about I don't have to worry about giving up one of my books for that long of a time. I don't have to worry about all the shipping and the cost for it. So I have my preservable copy of it. So it's kind of is what it is. So my whole thing here is like with slabs, I do it more for preservation. Not every book needs to be preserved. Yes, I can see people arguing about Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle #1 does not need to be preserved, but in the bigger scheme of things, it's also going to be a book that it's like as a #1. I want to keep it as pristine as possible. Might as well get if I could get it cheaply, and trust me, when I say got it cheaply, I got it for like $20, 9.8 slab, $20. I can't I can't argue. I can't argue with the price. When other people sleep on books like that, we can't complain. No, there's no complaints about that. It's like you got a good comeuppance, but that's just the way that it is. Yeah, the price was an average weekly price for the price of a toddler. It, they kept increasing it every season, and when everybody scanned Maggie, yeah, don't do it, AA Ron. Yep, she's a persnickety mistress. Yeah. Those who play the slab game for flipping is never a good thing. Like she said, it's persnickety. Persnickety. I'm just getting used to I'm getting used to the vocabulary. That's not Parallax's standard vocabulary. But it's good that she is using words like persnickety. Yeah, if it costs $50 to slab, yeah, nice score. I mean, it's like before shipping, and when I say before shipping, we talk about shipping your book to them and shipping it back. Before both of those, it's usually somewhere between $45 to $50, unless you get into older books where it could go as high as $60 to $80 just for basic services. So after you add shipping, you're looking at $50 to $60 for like really modern books, and but the older books it could be upwards to like $80 to $100 just for basic services. Then when I say basic services, we're not talking about pressing or anything to that magnitude, pressing or high res scanning or pre-screening and all this other stuff. So there's a lot more that goes into grading here. So when you're looking at getting into the slabbing aspect of it, it's always best to figure out what books you really want to preserve more so than anything. And people who look at me as like, well, slabbing doesn't really preserve your book, but it's like it's better than Mylar to a certain degree. It's easier to ship and take care of it when you're moving than books that are in Mylar. Insurance companies, when you look at homeowners insurance, will give you the actual value of the book because it has a certification number on it as opposed to a book that's in Mylar. So, yeah, preservation is the right way to look at it in the bigger scheme of things. But that's coming from a person who, been trying to do their homework and have, have one parent that's like really into like who made her whole life as an accountant, and they're like, no, do it this way and that way, once you have everything in order, this, that, and the other, you could take out actual good insurance on it because it's an investment. And I was like, it's not really that much of an investment unless you have the full run of it. And that's what I'm trying to find, figure out and get to that point. So that's why I always say it's like if you're trying to do the quick flip, good luck for you. That's just not my deal. But for preservation for prosperity and to have it as like a keepsake that you could give to somebody else or donate it to like a museum or something, it's worth your while. Yeah, people are liquidating right now, I think. Well, I don't want to say liquidating, but the thing about it is that it the economy is such where the quick flipper can't make real money anymore. There's no more discretionary income. When people were getting all those rebate checks and stimulus checks, they had money to burn. Why not spend it on a comic book they could flip that they could flip and get like three times the amount of money for it? That's why I never was a big guy on flipping books. It just didn't make any sense to me because, one person's speculation on a book becomes, dead 2 weeks from now. And a book that was dead, 2 months ago could be the hottest thing ever and go through the roof 100 times fold, and you get priced out of getting into that market. It's too volatile. It's too volatile as far as investing is concerned. But you got a lot of these people that's like, no, go ahead and do it. You can make it work. It's like you could lose your arse off on that. And yep, I didn't say the other word. I said arse, ARSE. So yeah, if you get this, it's like if you get stuff and don't mind having it, yeah, then you do okay. And that's the one thing. People are too short term now. Nobody wants to hold on to things no more than like 2 or 3 months. I'm up here trying to hold on to things for years. One of the reasons why I get to the point where I feel sad that my Uncanny X-Men 1 from 1963 is worth more than my 1945 Wonder Woman #9. I get upset about that. X-Men #1 is like a $5,000 book in the condition that it's in, and my Wonder Woman 9, which is higher with a higher grade than my X-Men book, is worth maybe like 1/5 of that value. I just don't get the market in that aspect. But I got them preserved, so that's the major thing. I'm extensively versed in vernacular. Yes, I know that. I know that. But I know how your vernacular normally is. Or at least when we normally talk, you talk in a certain vernacular. So when you get persnickety, I was like, oh, Oh, somebody, somebody is really feeling really, really spry in their vocabulary today. That's why I was looking at it in that aspect. Yeah. I'm trying to connect with Joe with my official presser guy. Yeah, she's up here. It's like, don't ever use CCS again. I'm mad at you for using CCS on that Ultimate Fallout 4. I was like, it was still in the poly bag. It's like, e- e- either way I would have went anywhere I would have went with it. I still would have had to get it pressed, and I just didn't want to wait. I trust him with my high value stuff that I wouldn't touch. Well, you touch everything, so that says a lot. I just been buying slabs of special covers I like instead of getting the good raw instead of getting the good raws and sending them out easier for me right now. Right now, yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean, if you're able to get a already slab at a decent price, where you can negate the cost of sending it in. Do it. I can see doing that with more modern books than the older books that I'm trying to get ready to send. Like this getting this buying this graded, buying this book graded. Not going to happen. Even in this condition, this book would have been close to like a $300 book. Buying it already slab. This book right here, this one right here, I could probably get a decent deal if I wanted a low grade version of it. But this one is not that bad. It's just that it just got some color breaking folds on it. So I know that it's not. It's just like it's not going to get the best of grades here. My my grades of interest number 80 that I just got back. There's no way in the world that I'm going to be able to get that book for under four figures at any grade. Some books are, some books you just can't, you know, play the slab game. It's like, oh, I just going to get the slab equivalent and just call it a day instead of sending in my raw. Sometimes you just have to send in the raw. That's just the way that it is. My first slab I ever bought, I paid $26 after a $10 coupon from Feebay. Yeah, I taught Don how to fill out the form. hmm And told him the best return shipping is to send a minimum of 5 books. Yeah, because if you send 5 books, then it's justified because you're going to be paying upwards of $15. 15 You're going to be paying upwards of $15 for one book, but that $15 really covers 5. So if you could send 5 books, that $15 covers those 5 books. So you're actually your shipping fee comes down to like $3 a book. FedEx. That's sending it through FedEx because they only deal with FedEx, and that drives me up the wall. I could have them send it through UPS, but I have to pay for the shipping out of my corporate account for FedEx, and I was like, that's kind of silly. That's kind of silly to pay for something that they could weigh down that package, and I could pay up the yin yang for it. So it is what it is. And it was the Monster 4K Blu-ray. I told Kendra would have done a better job. Leia guaranteed. If you give him 50 to 60 bucks, it's fine, Don. Well, considering that her person, and she sent me the website here. Her person is considered a authorized CGC and CBCS dealer, which means that he has a special account where he could he could press it, clean it, and send it immediately to them and get a faster turnaround for it. Like it's almost kind of like how I have an artist account. Like for example, when I finish, like if I actually finish and do the Doomazonia, I could send Doomazonia directly in to CGC at a discounted rate and get my yellow label. They get my yellow label on it. That's the cool thing about it. So that's the reason why I was up here. It's like I was not leery of layers presser. It's just more along the lines. It's like I just like less hands handling the book because now I have to send it from here through UPS to her presser, the press, and while it's in the presser's hands, then they have to send it over to CGC, and that has to go back through the post office and everything to get to Florida, and then the whole thing with Florida and yada yada yada, and then we were dealing with storms and everything that's there because I had stuff already over there at CGC that's still, again, magazines getting pressed by CSS again and again. Ladies going like, I told you to stop sending stuff to CSS, but it's a magazine and we're talking about a fashion magazine. So, I'm doing it, doing this as a favor to somebody else who's trying to get their magazines and stuff graded. So they knew that I had an account. They gave me the money to send it over and to get it pressed. And I'm like, okay, cool. No big deal. Yeah, buying that graded in that shape is at least $345. Yeah, you're not going to win. You're not going to win. You're not going to win that cheaper battle. Unless, like I said, unless it's a modern book, you're not going to win that cheaper battle than sending that whole thing here. Nah, all X-Men in the MCU now. Dude Bros made that book spike. Yep. House of M #2 variant Dobson 9.8 blue level with $26. Mm-hmm. Doom is all he needs no one. Oh yeah, Parallax. I received the Batman long Halloween for $22 and some change shipped to me. Good stuff. Yeah. See, modern books, you could get those deals, but the older books is where you're going to have the problems with. Yeah, most of the covers I get aren't that much, but some are signed ones. Yeah, again, people want to overcharge for signatures. That's just the nature of the beast. Signatures drives up the cost of the books for no apparent reason. But that's just me. I get it out. Get it out of the slab. Others that I just eventually send the raws that I have and flip them. Yeah, that's because you're Don the dealer. You know how to deal with the flip. I don't. I choose not to. I could, but I just don't have the patience to. I opened my new Teen Titans annual one I recently acquired, and it's signed within with both. Ooh, you know, both sides now have verification services. So you can go get it slabbed and have it verified, and you can have your gold label on it. Yep, I do. I call that a score too. Yep. My Fantastic Four 23 is signed on the splash page by Jacob Kurtzberg. Yep. I sent AA Ron the link to the long. Okay, cool. Yeah, I got the trade. Yep, cool. Every single issue of that is a minimum of $12. Well, Parallax know how I am. They're like, oh, 12, only $12. Okay. I'm getting the issues. And she's like, why are you being stupid? Just get the trade. I want the issues. I'd rather have any issues because if they're available, if they're easy to come by to get them the issues, I still going to get them. I'd rather only have trades if there's no other way to get the issues easily. That's the reason why V for Vendetta, I have it as a trade because at the time that the movie came out, it was hard to get those issues, those single issues. So I bought the trade and I read it that way. Never read the story, so I went for it. Cool. Matter of fact, I don't think I read Long Halloween either. But then again, I'm not a Batman fan. Unless it's Thomas Wayne, I'm not going to read a Batman story. There's very few Batman stories I will read. Put it that way. And if I read a Batman story, it's mainly because it's not because of Bruce, it's because of other supporting characters. Yep, it's a good one. The 4K Blu-ray has both movies spliced together. One of my favorites for sure. The Long Halloween. Yep. I heard good things about it, but I never read it myself. Never read it myself at all. I really like Gotham by Gaslight, the animated movie too. That's another book that I have not read. Not a fan of Bruce Wayne. Heck, Farrell. Actually, you know I was selling Batman books on my on my WhatNot show. I love that Captain Pike voice, Bruce Greenwood. Nice, 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 nice. Now you made me think about something. Okay, let me double check one thing here. Okay, I'm back. I just wanted to make certain. I just wanted to make certain, and like I said before on my WhatNot show, that was the one that I had that I'm going to take off of my off of WhatNot for being able to buy. Only because, like I said before, I was trying to be generous and sell one of these because I had two of them. Screw it now. I mean, it's been on there for several months. Nobody wants a Hope number 8, which is the Hellfire Gala variant edition. So I might as well keep it. I'm putting it in my She-Hulk box now. Back into the She-Hulk box. It's going right next to Pulp Fiction. And that surprised me because this is one of my original books from my collection here. I didn't think it would have got the 9.8, but it did. This was also one of the ones I also didn't think I was going to have the variant for either for Hulk 1. But that it is what it is. Yeah, that's like I heard about that. I stopped buying newer comics actually just working on runs. I still buy newer comics. I still buy newer comics, but I'm very selective of which titles now. I still buy Wonder Woman, even though I don't like what Tom King is doing. I've been loving what they've been doing with Birds of Prey in the new run of Birds of Prey. It makes sense here. I started back to collect things like Catwoman. I'm still collecting the newer issues of Film Force now, so now I'm collecting the books that are in the 200s in Film Force now. So there's still books in like the 100s that I still need to get in that series. But newer books are few and far between. Most of the stuff that I'm getting is like old time and long time favorites such as GI Joe, Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman. I think I got all the issues of this version of Gotham City Sirens and stuff to that magnitude. It's weird. I like Batman's villains more than Bruce himself. But then again, I like what they said about Bruce and how Wonder Woman treated him back in the early 2000s. That pretty much spoke volumes of why I don't like him. I mean, it is what it is. It's just like it is what it is here. Yeah, it's like I didn't read that story, but I enjoyed the animated. See, I haven't watched either. I haven't watched or read it. I haven't saw the animated either. So that's like I said, I don't really care too much. I'm not investing in the Kryptonian age. Oh, that reminds me. I am getting Absolute Wonder Woman. After issue 8, what he did at issue 8 made me angry. I can understand why people got angry when he started Bible thumping. That's when I'm like, yep, people have a right to be mad. And then I talked to people who actually loved what he did in issue number 8, and then that's when I understood it's like I understand why you liked it, but that's not a Wonder Woman book. You're liking what Tom King is doing there. I get it, but typically that is not a Wonder Woman story where you're playing with her mental state in that aspect here and doing it in the guise of Bible thumping. Not a good look. Not a good look. Way outside of the characterization of Diana. But it is what it is. It is what it is. I don't, I may not like what he's doing, but I appreciate the fact that he's putting more readers into the seats to actually read Wonder Woman that didn't read Wonder Woman before. Is it a good thing? Meh. Only reason I go meh because they're not going back to reading the older stuff. They're happy with what they're getting now. So my whole thing is what happens when the creative team changes again? I think they go bye bye, which is a sad thing. I kind of wish that Tom King stuff would have turned them on to Wonder Woman to make them go back and read some of the older stuff to understand the differences and why other people who are longtime fans of Wonder Woman are upset. But we're not in that day and age here. People are set in their ways. People going to like what they like and want what they want. There's no true discussion anymore. I could not like something and see why you like it, and we could still have a discussion about it and keep things moving. It still doesn't stop me from collecting Wonder Woman. I could have stopped collecting Tom King stuff, but I got to the point where at my age, I'm not going to do what I did with the evil one. And every time I call him the evil one, I keep. That's when I normally forget his name, but it's right on the tip of my tongue here again. But I'm not going to do what I did with when he took over X-Men. Oh shoot, the one that created the secondary mutations here, Grant Morrison. I'm not going to do what I did with Grant Morrison. When Grant Morrison took over X-Men, I stopped collecting X-Men. It wasn't the fact that the stories were bad. It wasn't my X-Men. And during that time in the early 90s, I was in my mid 20s, and I was so used to burn X-Men, um, I was so used to burn X-Men and dang it. I don't know why the names are escaping me now. Chris Claremont X-Men and Cochran X-Men. I was so used to that. When Grant Morrison came over, I was hot. I was heated because he changed too much. He changed the X-Men too much. I didn't have an appreciation of what he was doing. I was going on more of what his reputation was. Even if I started to like what he was doing, he was not going to leave the X-Men in a state where somebody else could pick it up and write for it. In a way, when he started writing on the X-Men, it was the beginning to end the X-Men again, because anybody that came after him would not be able to pick up his types of stories and the mythos that he laid out from that point forward. It took several years for the X-Men to pick back up to get good again after Grant Morrison. Me at this age, I now have an appreciation for what he did and went back and got those issues and completed my collection. I left it because I was more upset that knowing that once he leaves, the X-Men is going to be in disarray. I saw it coming. I saw that writing on the wall when they announced it. Now, mind you, I was okay with Doom Patrol when he wrote Doom Patrol. I just didn't want him to touch the X-Men. And it's just weird. It's weird in that aspect here. I don't trust Tom King. He's good, then he seems to troll the reader or just does what he wants, but whatever. Exactly. That's what he did with Wonder Woman. He came out from the gate and said, "Oh, Wonder Woman needs like a Dark Knight Returns storyline." No, it did. No, she didn't. You wanted to do that. You wrote this tripe. You created a brand new character that nobody likes and that you didn't develop a background for. And then the background stories that you did develop for her doesn't link her up to where we're at now. So my whole thing is like you created Elizabeth Marston, aka Trinity, for no apparent reason other than the fact that it was a jumping on point and a new character for people to try to follow in a story that really wasn't about her in the first place. Because again, you set up issue 800, the side story in issue 800, to move into this era of Wonder Woman with her going into the 1K to visit the guy that they have in prison there that owned the lasso of lies, to tell her about what happened between him and and her mother. Then we get Wonder Woman, the Wonder Woman #1 that we got, and it doesn't even flow back to that moment. We just go straight into Dawn of DC, and that people don't trust super powered beings anymore, and there's just a straight up hatred of Amazons from Themyscira or Amazons period up under the new rule of Nubia. And I was just up there like, yeah, you just want us to accept that as is with no true background story on any of this. That just Dawn of DC is just like the world just turns on a dime, and this is the way everybody feels about it. Okay, right. Good job, editor. Good job, editors. Oh, that's right. There is no editors at DC anymore. They're just copy editors, and people. And if they do have that, there's no one that's truly managing stories anymore. But that's just me. Morrison. Yep. Grant Morrison. Yep. I remember. I enjoyed Morrison X Men, but I get what you're saying. And I saw the writing on the wall, and it happened. After Morrison left, we got at least 2 to 5 years of X Men that just didn't make any sense. And people have, and the X Men have to, yeah, eventually got to Chris Claremont. Like I said, I just can't think of it right away. Well, yeah, Claremont actually went back and did his homework and really exposed the fact that she had a diamond form. She was that's the reason why she was technically unbreakable. Why she was so edgy, and the reason why it's like, oh, I don't have a problem mind wiping anybody possible, because technically, if worse comes to worse, if she actually got into a physical scrape, she could always go into that form, that diamond form, her diamond form body. And nobody really knew about it because nobody explored it until Morrison did. And I like what they was doing with Iceman at the time, the relationship that she had with Cyclops after the whole thing with Apocalypse, and that he was Apocalypse for a while. I mean, a lot of those stories made sense up under Morrison. The whole thing with Nightcrawler and his so-called origin and who his real father was and everything, all of that made sense. It's just that it was getting harder and harder for writers after him to maintain it. And that's what I was so afraid of, and I just walked away. I walked away because I knew that it couldn't be maintained. Tom King makes everything into a brooding, sad PTSD Batman. Or at least he wants to do that, because Danger Street, Danger Street, he just like, to me, he just made the whole thing like, ha ha, I'm Naboo. I see everything. I know about everything. I'm going to be an asshole to everybody with all this stuff happening around you. I could tell you how to avoid all this, but I'm not. I'm just going to be sitting here. You're going to carry my helmet around all day long, and I'm going to drive you batty because I want to see this happen. That's what eventually happened in Danger Street. That's the Cliff Note version of Danger Street, because everything was surrounded by the fact that his Naboo, the spirit that was in the helmet, saw all this was happening amongst all these, as Parallax would say, D-list characters. All these D-list characters are going, to be have this catastrophic event, which involves everybody that's in that D-list, in such a way where Naboo is like, haha, I'm going to make all of you look like fools, even though I could prevent half of this stuff from happening. But I'm going to tell this story and make you all look fools. Haha, I'm Tom King because I could do that. Because that's what I want to do. But then again, you have good stories that he won awards for, like what he did with Mr. Miracle, the 12-issue Mr. Miracle series. And even and going back to what Parallax was stating, it's like, yeah, it was a lot of PTSD, but it was PTSD as in Scott Free dealing with his own mortality because he was dealing with his own eventual death and dealing with it's like, well, what would life be without having barter around, without having all this other stuff, without what would happen with dark side, what would happen with the High Father, because people keep forgetting about the actual deal between New Genesis and Apocalypse. Scott, being the son of the High Father, was given to Darkseid, and Orion, who is the son of Darkseid, was given to the High Father, and the other side raised him. So when Scott was about to get ready to meet his ultimate demise, that was one of the things that he was pondering. It's like, does Darkseid truly see me as a son? What would that, how would the news of my demise actually affect him? Did he even even acknowledge me as a part of the treaty of being his son, just like Calibat was, or Orion? I mean, those were the type of things that I would think here. Same to you here, Aaron. Thanks for dropping by. Hopefully the conversation was good enough here. And speaking of which, it is about that time because we're about to be at the 2 hour mark here. I would go a little bit further, but I want Parallax to still have some of her Saturday left, even if it is maybe about like 3 to 4 minutes. That she's about to hit the 12 o'clock hour out there in the Eastern time zone and be like, surprise, it's Sunday. But nevertheless, I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode here. It's always nice chatting to my chat out here. I love it when you guys are out here being, talkative and conversational, and we have these discussions about all the different things here. And hopefully, I'm being logical in a lot of the discussions as well. A lot of the discussions as well here. So I don't want to be, boring or anything to that magnitude, and I don't want to monopolize the conversation. I want you guys to interject as much as possible here. So if there is a problem that you have with comic book collecting, it's a question about production, stories, anything that goes on, this is your place to elaborate on it, to express it. I won't say it's a safe place because no place is ever safe, but at least you will have a ear to actually listen. And if there is any consoling words or comforting words that can be said, it will be said, whether it be from myself or other people in the chat here. But on that note, we're going to bid you guys adieu for this week. Next week, we're probably going to be back to topic, so it could be anything and everything that could be going on and about the comic book industry at this point, especially coming around to the Christmas season, because we're about to get ready to be out of Halloween season. So I'm like, yay! A lot of the horror books and stuff are going to eventually go away. At least the over exaggerations of these books. So like lot of the trick or treat books or the new horror anthologies by some of the major publishers are now going to be like coming to an end and everything to that magnitude. So we get to see new and different stuff coming around for like the Thanksgiving and Christmas holiday. And yes, there is a holiday. It's not Halloween and Christmas. We always have to deal with Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is a holiday. We need to be thankful for a lot of stuff. So just be mindful of that. Thanksgiving is a holiday. Don't skip over Thanksgiving. Be thankful. Be thankful for a lot of things here. Be grateful for a lot of things here because things could be worse. Things could be worse, and things could be going a different direction here. But on that note, live life, grow, and be well. I will catch you here next Saturday, right here from Deso Small Press Publisher. And don't forget, this upcoming Thursday, there is no Comic Book Spectrum, so we will see you on Comic Book Spectrum in 2 weeks, not next week. 2 weeks. So so we're going to be in November when we get our next Comic Book Spectrum. Until then, see ya. We don't want to be here, and we are out of here. Adios, and have a good rest of your Saturday if you're anywhere else but in the East Coast. And if you are on the East Coast, have a good start to your Sunday. Get some rest. Do whatever you gotta do. But main thing here is, enjoy. Read good books, enjoy, and don't let anybody else convince you of not buying what you like. Always buy the comics that you like. Enjoy them, and that's just reiterating the fact of what I was told by a by if I could say his name, Brian Gordon of Bryce Comics, when I told him the story about when I'm feeling uneasy until I actually have it in hand. He said, "No, you got a great story. Enjoy the book." That's what I'm going to do. See you later. We're out of here.